How the heck are you guys? I am Fastidious. Welcome back to the channel. Should you summon for these guys right here. We've got Lubu and we have got Ymiret. Two definitely strong ancient exclusive units, but two units who I'm going to encourage most of you to skip this weekend. Now, Ymiret is great. And he's actually gotten greater lately because he's supremely meta for Gear Dungeon 2, stages 11, 12, and 13. However, he's actually not really meta anywhere else right now. He's definitely good in tons of places. If you have a younger account, he is excellent for progression. And if you have a Nora and you don't yet have Ymiret, this bond skill that she gives him is very good. And the bond skill he gives her is fantastic. And it definitely takes her to another level. So he is the pinnacle of a luxury item. I don't think you need him, aside from maybe Gear Dungeon 2, but there are other solutions. But outside of that, I just think he's fantastic to have, and he's someone you should be thrilled to have. He has pretty good awakenings as well. The A1 is nice. The A3 is very nice. He also gets some play on GVG defense. He certainly used to be a superstar there. But all in all, I would just say he's great. He's like very good. He's probably, with my updated rankings, going to get an A+ or an S, which is a lot higher than it sounds compared to the current rankings. He's a very good unit. I actually think he's borderline underrated at this point. But special ancient summoning, that's a special time of the week, of the month, of the year, whatever. It used to be kind of rare, once or twice a month. Now it's nearly every week. But when we get these raid ups, they're important to go for at the right moment. And I don't know if this is the right moment. So that's what I'm going to spend like the second half of this video about. But you can kind of already tell I'm going pretty fast in my discussion of these heroes because I just don't think any normal player could justify pulling on this banner. Now, if you're not a normal player, meaning you have a ton saved, you're exceptionally endgame, you have different goals than the average player, you spend a boatload of money, then by all means, it's a good banner. I wouldn't say it's a great banner, but it's definitely a good banner. Two above average ancient units. You know, everyone else, I mean, there's big stuff coming, right? We know a new ancient exclusive Infernal Lord is coming. We know they want to push a new meta team for Infernals, and almost certainly that Lord will be part of that meta. And that's not even to mention the Arbor Lord that should be coming sooner rather than later. But we'll get back to that. We'll circle back around. Let's talk about Lubu. Lubu recently got buffed. His exclusive artifact is one of the strongest in the game. It is completely required for him if you want him to be closer to full potential. He's a very, very good unit. He's definitely an underrated unit. He doesn't like super shine anywhere though. He's extremely good as an AoE physical DPS, as a melee unit. He is very viable. And you'll definitely be able to get play for him. He gets a cool bond skill from Diaochan, and most importantly, he gives a pretty relevant bond skill to Diaochan. Let me actually show you that right now. When he first came out along with Diaochan, I actually thought the bond skill he was giving her was worse, but having played Diaochan a bunch and really focused on the best way to build her, this is very nice. True Devotion, Pain. Diaochan, once you get Lubu, is going to unlock this bond skill. And essentially, she is going to reduce all incoming AoE damage that she takes. Personally, the stuff she takes, as long as there's someone in her range. She's a support. You're always going to have units that you want her supporting in her range. And more often than not, you are using her in boss content. You're kind of using her everywhere because she's the best hero in the game, the most versatile hero in the game, the most usable hero in the game. You can kind of plug and play her anywhere. One of the places she super shines is boss content. And that's where you might get worried that she could die, right? She does not have the highest HP at all, 9,711. And because she has such low base attack and her attack is so important, you're focusing all your energy, you're hunting all of the stats for attack. And because you're so heavily invested in attack, you often, if you want to get some HP on her, will have to sacrifice a little attack. It's a lot less attack that you have to sacrifice when she has a baked into her kit reduction in AoE damage, and that's a unique style reduction, so it stacks with other things. She's reducing her own personal damage that comes in by 30% if it's AoE. And it makes her so much easier to build for boss content because where you might need to build another unit like Aelin with 28,000, 29,000, 32,000 HP for certain content, Diaochan you can build with 22,000, 24,000 HP. It's a lot less, and it lets you heavily focus on attack. So that's one thing with Lubu I think people sleep on. But if we actually go back to Lubu, where does he really shine? I mean, he is very, very good for AoE damage. We have a lot of units that are very good. You might think, oh, but he's very good for physical AoE damage. He's not Ardia or Neza. The one place he's borderline meta, he's going to be just off meta until new things potentially develop. That's going to be AoE Arena, especially after his buff. He's got crazy far reach on his Chaos Strike, so he can hit that back line. But from everything I've seen so far, he's not going to make the top teams. He'll be very close, and if you get him while you're progressing and working your way towards an Apex Overlord, he's going to be immensely valuable. But as of this moment, and it could change, he is not meta there yet. He's close, but he's not meta there yet. And I tested him out a decent bit on Chaos teams with Valderon and Pierre and stuff like that. So he's really, really good, but definitely a luxury item. And not even one like Ymiret, where Ymiret's kind of like the pinnacle of a luxury item, you know, a nice to have that you'd love to have. Lubu's a nice to have that you'd really like to have. And I hope you understand the distinction I am trying to make. So all in all, I just think unless you love these two units, unless you love Anora and you need that bond skill, unless you have endlessly deep pockets, unless you have so much saved, unless you don't care about the crazy OP units that are probably coming pretty soon in the future, I don't think you should be summoning. If you're one of those other people that I said the unless before, then by all means, do whatever you want. I honestly think people like that don't need to watch my videos because you're going to, or at least don't need to watch my advice videos. You can watch my other videos. But I mean, you know your account so well, and you know your goals. You don't need me shedding light on it. But for any normal player, how could you pull on this banner? How could you pull on this banner? You'd be a little bit crazy, I think. You know, you have to be a huge spender to be a normal player and pull on this banner. But if you're a huge spender, you're not a normal player. So that's where we're going to leave that. I do want to finish the video off with kind of my thoughts about ancient summoning nowadays. Now that Pierre's in the game, and now that Ymiret has fully ascended to the second best legendary lord, in my opinion, and just completely god tier for so much content. What's the words? We have such a strict upper class, you know, elite class of ancient exclusives, and then there's everyone else. Among the everyone else, we obviously have tiers, but I just think it's so, to me at least, it's very clear. We have Valara, Ingrid, and Ymiret at the very top. Probably Valara and Ingrid by themselves, then probably Ymiret. Then it's probably like Pierre. You could argue Ardia could be in there. You could argue Sithra. I should probably look at all the ancient exclusives to make sure I don't forget anyone. But then there's just not much more. And I just think if it's not one of those units, you can't really go for it. You know, depending on specific goals, you could clearly go for Nasty. You could clearly go for Yovar. Valderon's finally coming back after the buff to all the Chaos Lords. Who's really going to target units like that when we know such big new things are coming? A lot of people certainly could, but I do think the devs have kind of put us in a tight spot. We know that we're finally going to get the better Arbiter Lord. There is no way when the new Supreme Arbiter Lord comes, it won't be better than Praetus, at least for a lot of content. And I mean, that is just tantalizing, right? For me, it's going to be very hard to use any Ancients anytime soon. Maybe I'll throw some YOLO summons when the new Infernal Lord comes, who I think will come first, based on how they kind of tease things in the dev Q&A. I shouldn't even call it the Q&A. They never ate our Qs. They said they said it'd be a separate thing. I should actually reach out to them. But the dev roadmap, let's call it. Maybe I'll throw a couple at that, but I think at this point I'm in a very, very, very tight holding pattern unless Pierre 2.0 or Valara 2.0 comes out when it comes to saving my Ancients for that next Arbiter Lord. And I think there's just such strength in these factions and there's such concentrated power at the top. A lot of this stuff is just really hard to justify. I mean, if we actually look through it, if they reran Dracula, that would be a big deal. Hard to think that's going to happen soon, if it even ever happens, because they made a big fuss that he's completely exclusive. Maybe next Halloween they would rerun the Dracula's Castle event. This guy is the GOAT for a lot of stuff right now. Even more overpowered than I thought he was going to be at the time, and I thought he was going to be crazy. So that'd be something, but he's not possible because he's completely limited. So then it's like Pierre, amazing. Ardia, very strong argument. If you're talking support, I don't think you should target support, but Cornelia and Dirtsa, you've got a good argument. Sithra for specific things, and then that's basically it for all normal Chaos units. If we go to the Supreme Arbiters, it is strictly Valara. Erlang Shen's amazing, but I don't think he should be targeted by any normal player. Lycan's very good. I don't think he could be targeted. You probably have an argument for Cadgram. Lady Alex isn't accessible through summons. So it's kind of, I mean, you can make a big argument that it's like just Valara, and then maybe you could argue Cadgram, and then here it is maybe no one, but you could make a really, really, really good argument for Pierre, and then probably Ardia, and then maybe after that, Sithra. There just aren't many units. So then if you talk about the Lords, unless you already have your A3 Ingrid, unless you already have your Ezerith, and you're not worried about the future, I just don't think you're going to target many Lords right now. Of course, if you just want to progress quickly right now and you need to fill it out and you can't afford because you're a newer account, right? I think that's insanely reasonable if you don't want to be hoarding Ancients for many months at a time. If you see Nastia pop up, go for her. If you see Praetus, you can go for him. Valderon, you can go for him. Yovar, you can go for him. Soul Cannons, I don't think you could really justify anymore. Definitely not Demi and Morrigan. It's just Ezerith, in my opinion. I definitely wouldn't say you could target Rygar. Rivenhald, you probably could justify. And that's basically it. I just think the Ancient Summoning's in a weird spot. There's just such power at the top. And it seems like such power is coming that unless it's Pierre and Ezerith or Valar and Ingrid, those kind of banners, I mean, how could you go for this? So that's where I'm leaving it. I think it's a hard skip, guys, for 99.6% of you. The other 0.4%, let me know how your summons go. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Fastidious. Subscribe to the channel, share with your mother, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.